Hello and welcome to the Mr. CNC Insights channel. Today I will be presenting to you an option from Siemens called Lock MyCycles. Now Lock MyCycles is an option and it requires this option code to be enabled to use. What this allows you to do is encrypt your cycles that are either in .mpf or .spf format. The output of Lock MyCycles will be a new cycle in .cpf format. So this tool allows you to protect the intellectual property of your custom developed cycles. It can be used with real SINUMERIK systems, but it can also be used with Create MyVirtual Machine or Run MyVirtual Machine. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'll be using Create MyVirtual Machine, and I'll create a new template project using SINUMIL5AC and CNC Software 6.22 Hotfix 1. So once this boots up, what I will demonstrate is how we can encrypt the tool change cycle and protect the intellectual property of that. On this particular machine, the tool change cycle is titled L6.spf. Before we begin, after the system has booted, I will show you that the cycle works, and then we can take a look at the source code both before and after our encryption process. So now that the system has booted, I'm going to change the visualization, removing the housing so that we can see the tool change just a little bit better. I'll give spindle start and feed start a click and give a percentage override for feed and for spindle speed. Next, I'm going to the TSM screen and selecting a tool. Here, I'm selecting the first tool, followed by cycle start, and you can see that the system has moved over to the tool change position and picked up a tool as expected. Next, what I want to do is actually look at the code in the L6 program as it is right now. So to do that, I'll go to the setup area. And notice that my current access level is currently key switch 0. In order to view the program, what I need to do is enter a password for a higher level of access. Now, the default password for template machines is going to be Sunrise to grant access to the manufacturer level. Now that I have that, when I go into system data and look at the NC data, I can see in my cycles, manufacturer cycles program, there is a L6 SPF file. When I open that up, here on the front of the machine, I can see all of the code that has been written, oftentimes by the machine tool builder, to execute this tool change. Now, if we want to protect this so that the users of the machine are not able to see it or modify it, what we can do is run the Lock MyCycles program. So first, I'll copy the SPF file to my USB stick, just like that. And next, I'm going to have to use my Protector file. So I have in here my USB stick with my L6 SPF program on it. Now I'm going to copy that into the Protector folder. So once you purchase Lock MyCycles, you'll have access to a different version of Protector.exe. The version I'm using is 2.9 SP1, and Siemens has many versions. At the time of this recording, this is the latest one. So it's a little bit easier to run the file with the L6 in the same folder as the Protector.exe. If we open up the README, we can see how the Protector.exe file works that encrypts our cycles for us. There are a couple of different options, and note there's an example call right here from the command prompt. The options that I'll be using are F for file, so I can specify the name of the encrypted file with this option, and I will also be using encryption version 2 with the E option here. So in order to do that, what I need to first do is open a command prompt editor as an administrator. And now I'm going to want to change directory to my Protector.exe directory. I will cd change directory. Now the bit of code that I'd like to run will be Protector followed by E2 for the encryption version 2, followed by the F option to specify my file name. The next thing I'm going to do is specify the name to be L6CPF, and the file name and the original file is L6SPF. When I hit enter, pretty quickly the file becomes encrypted, and when we look back at our Protector directory, we can see that an L6CPF file has been created. Now, if we went to view it, you can see that it is binary, and we're not going to be able to decipher any of this information. What I can do next is copy this file to my USB drive here. And once it's on the USB drive, I'll have access to it in Create My Virtual Machine. So for this to show up, I just change screens once, and now I see the L6CPF. So I can copy that, paste it into the manufacturer cycles area, and delete my SPF file here that we no longer need. So now that we have the compiled cycle in its proper place, the next thing we have to be sure of is that we have our license enabled for Protect MyCycles. So if I go to all options here and I search for lock, I can see that the second hit here is Lock MyCycles. I'll click that, and it tells me that an NCK power on reset is required for this option to take effect. So that would be this button here. I'm going to go ahead and execute this. Now, as we wait, there is one more important consideration that needs to be made in order for Lock MyCycles to work with older versions of Create and Run My Virtual Machine. Specifically here, I am using what we call the Workbench software version 1.3.2. Now for this to work, I need to go to this folder here, and I need to be sure that this XML file has a particular variable in it. So here, I need access to the system root, and the system root is going to be C:\Windows. So if this variable does not appear on your system in C Program Files 86, Siemens Automation, CNC software, then the version that you're running, we're going to have to add the variable on the latest versions with the CNC software starting at least at 6.15 and onward. If you're using the Workbench software 1.4, this change should not be necessary, but it is a good idea to just know that this variable needs to be there, and in case it doesn't work, that's the first thing to check. So now that I've come back out of the reset, I can come back and make sure that I have spindle start set, I have my feed overrides, so that we can see some motion. I will go ahead and jog my x-axis a little bit out of the way. We're going to pick another tool. So to do that, we'll start here and select tool. I'll pick this bigger tool here with radius 16 millimeters and hit cycle start. And now we see that my bigger tool was loaded. So through this process, we've been able to install an encrypted file right in this location here with the extension CPF to protect the intellectual property. I hope that you're able to use this technology on your own systems and that this video has been helpful.